If you're considering buying one of these P300s, a couple things you should know. This has 3 ways to turn on. You can use remote turn on, but if you're gonna do it high level, then you have 2 choices. You can either use what's called DC offset or signal sense. One of those is gonna allow the subwoofer to turn on. We also, when we're doing high level, run the remote turn on wire as well. Just in case one of those 2 doesn't work, we don't have to tear it all back apart again and hook it up. Located right here on the side. Audio is gonna be the signal sense, DC offset, or remote turn on. Typically audio works fine. The other thing you have here is low level or high level, because we're hooking up high level. High level means you're not hooking it up to RCA's. You have your phase, 0 to 180. You have gain, you have bass boost. I can tell you right now that you don't need to turn either one of these up. This thing has some serious input sensitivity. We never run these past 0. We always leave these turned all the way down, and this thing will put out tons of bass. The other thing is you can adjust the crossover to like 80 hertz. That's about right for these. All right, let's get this thing in the car. We have the fuse holder mounted in there. We have the cover back on. Now we just need to replace this back in. So one of the nice things about this woofer is the fact that you can unplug it and remove it fairly easily. So if you need to go on a trip, you can just unplug it. You don't have to worry about any of these wires touching, and you can take it right out of the car. And there's still enough room for the sub box. Happy.
You said single in?
Yes. We're gonna put an ABC radio in this guy here. ABC is what I like to call already been chewed, or as you might call used. We just call them ABC. But we got this here Malibu. You guys ask a lot about these Malibus. So we're gonna take you through the steps real quick of putting a radio in it.
So the first thing you want to do is carefully pry the outside. There you go. So Chevy put 6 metal clips. Crazy.
So to do the radio, we're going to use one of these Pack Audio LCGM29s. The LC stands for low cost. We're not going to be retaining OnStar or Bose or anything like that. We basically just need door chime, wrap, which is retained accessory power, and of course, accessory to turn on the radio. So we're going to go ahead and use this guy for the install. For the dash kit, we're going to use the BKGMK317. Now this is a single or double DIN dash kit. For this install, we are doing a single DIN. We'll walk you through the steps it takes to put this in. We have the double DIN trim ring and the single DIN trim ring. Now if you're going to do the double DIN, you're going to remove this brace here. We're not doing that, so we're going to go ahead and pitch this. The key to both of them is attaching the side brackets on before you try to slide the radio in. So we'll go ahead and attach these. Alright, so once we get the side pieces on, we'll go ahead and snap in the pocket. It is going to be difficult. Hey, that wasn't difficult. On the back, you'll notice there's 2 little screw provisions. Go ahead and snap those over. We'll go back to that in a minute. And then this piece here, now it's square on one side and round on the other. Go ahead and snap that into place. Snap that in just like that. Now you want to flip the kit over. It came with a bag of screws and these 2 guys right here. We're going to use these in a minute. You want the 2 smaller screws that look like this. they're gonna go right here. These here are going to go into the sides of the kit. Now, depending on whether you're doing single din or double din, it tells you which way it needs to go up. So it says this side up for double din, this side up for single din. Go ahead and snap those into place. All right, so now the kit is ready to accept the radio. Let's go ahead and get this radio out of the old dash kit. Most caged radios have these plugs here and these little metal things in the back. Go ahead and just pry them up and the radio should slide right out. Now she doesn't have a trim ring, which isn't going to be a problem because the dash kit has one already. So we'll go ahead and slide it into place. So this uses machine screws. Unfortunately, we're going to have to use these coarse screws to screw it in because they need to be extra long. So when you're screwing them in, don't use a drill, just screw them in slow and it'll be okay. Now, anytime you're screwing one of these kits in, check this right here. I know on the double dins, we worry about the gapping. On the single dins, you want to make sure that it's sticking out the same on both sides. You don't want it to be in there crooked like this or this. So just get it lined up and then screw it in. So a nice shiny kit can make an older radio look really nice, and in this case it definitely does. This, you know, didn't even have a trim ring. Very nice looking, and it's in the kit. All right, so we fast forwarded a little bit and we went ahead and wired up the harness. Now this guy here, this is the chime module like we talked about, so when we put this in, this thing's gonna go ding, ding, ding. Well, you know what? Let's just get it in the car and you can hear it ding. All right, so the only other thing you're gonna need is an antenna adapter because General Motors doesn't like to use the standard antenna adapter. No big deal. Go ahead and plug in your harness. There we go. Turn on the lights. There you go. There's the ding. Now we're gonna go ahead and plug this in. Now, if you have a double din and you're trying to put it in this dash, this piece right here, all this, you need to pull this bolt and you need to basically cut it here, and do the same on this side, and then cut it across here and remove this piece of plastic. If you don't do that, it's gonna make your job a lot harder than it needs to be. Because we're just doing a single din, it's gonna be okay. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and turn it on, make sure it works. Now a lot of people ask, oh wait, you didn't plug in the airbag. Only certain cars do you need to plug in the airbag. So like on a General Motors or a Ford, not so much. There we go, radio works. If you're doing like a Volkswagen, a Nissan, those they matter on, so you wanna make sure. If you're not sure, always plug it in before you turn the car on. The nice thing about General Motors is it will recycle the airbag every time you turn on the key. All right, so there we go. Radio's in and looking sexy. Now I know that wasn't the Chevy Malibu radio install you guys are hoping for. That's okay. Keep hope alive. We will be doing another one at some point. This was just something quick that came in at the end of the day. We had to knock it out real quick. And at least it's something in the car. Had to throw you a bone. All right, guys. On to the next one. Before I forget. That's Aaron. He works for PAC. He's a trainer. Yeah. And no, he won't share his shirts with us either. I don't even know where to start on this one. Oh, yeah, that's the answer. So sometimes you get stuff that you just like, and Paul takes it, so it ends up here. Let's take a look at what we got going on. So we have this right here. I don't know what it was in, but we're gonna take the woofer out of this and we're gonna put it in that. And then we're gonna put it in here. We're gonna power that, drum roll please, with this. Which this is a nice amp. I mean, for what it's gonna do running one little woofer, yeah, I guess it'll do the trick, but
okay.
One of the other things, and one of the nice things about this car coming in is actually something more important. If you guys have one of these Jeep Cherokees and for some reason your speakers cut in and out in the front doors, it's actually a real common problem because this is one of those cars where the, hey, you should always run new speaker wires mythos started because Chrysler used some, or Jeep, used some of the crappiest wire in these cars. I don't even know if this was Chrysler when this thing was made. Either way, what happens is the copper that they use somehow gets damaged in these little boots here. Fortunately, it's a huge boot, and when it opens and closes, the wires break, so you end up having to run new wires from the radio to the door. Solves the problem. And that's one of the problems we're gonna fix today. And honestly, that's probably the more fun we're gonna have because putting that woofer in, I don't know how much fun that's gonna be, but hey, it's an amp install. Let's do it, shall we? You excited? Get pumped. Let's go. Come on. And I just went white. Woo-hoo! Yeah. Okay, so we've gone ahead and got the floorboard off, we've got the kick panel out, we took the door panel off, and we're getting ready to run new wires. Now, there's this giant boot here, and inside here, what you have to do is there's grommet here that you cut through. Now, we're gonna fish it through into the door like we have right here, but this is what we wanna point out. This guy right here, this wire fish. This is a 36-inch zip tie. It's the best fish that you'll ever find. If you know an AC guy, go ahead and ask him for the cutoffs after they do ductwork in the attic, because really, that's all this is the piece that they throw away. Or ask them for a couple new zip ties. We're gonna go ahead and get this wire ran through here, reassemble the speaker. Alright, so let's take a look and see what we did. We went ahead and mounted the amp here. We used the factory seat brackets because he's got this thing going on, so he's not using a rear seat. So it allowed us to tuck it up out of the way. That's that guy. Go ahead, turn it on.
It's amazing.
Alright, so we went ahead and got that all hooked up, and of course we fixed the front speaker, this one right here. Go ahead and turn it on. Alright, so this guy's done. Sadly, I have to say, on to the next one. All right, so the next car is a Silverado. What we're gonna do with the Silverado, oh, hang on, trail mix, yummy. Silverado. Yeah, Silverado. I always get the GMC and the Chevys confused. Man, they're basically the same thing. Basically, not totally, basically. So, what do we got going on? Put a new radio, an ABC radio. If you guys don't know what ABC means, it means already been chewed. We talked about it, I think, a couple days ago. We have an old school 4500 that we're gonna go ahead and install. All right, so we got a couple things going on right now. We got a Silverado behind me. We'll get back to that in a minute. And we got a Nissan Frontier. We're gonna put a SiriusXm antenna right here, a new Alpine in the dash, some JVC 6x9s in the door, and we're on the clock.
I'm gonna take a shot. I know this is
There's the siren. It's telling us we gotta hurry. The end of the day is fastly approaching, and we're kind of overbooked at the moment, so we're gonna try to knock these things out in record time. So if we don't talk a lot from now until a little later, sorry, we gotta move. Did you hit go?
Go.
All right, time lapse starting now. Okay, so quick break. Harness for the Nissan dash kit, harness for the Chevy dash kit. So I'm getting as much of this pre-wire done. Now I'm gonna go over and get this radio in here, and then we'll come back and we'll work on this. big guy right here. That's where you want to ground that wire. Normally at this point, once we have this screwed in, we go ahead and turn it on, make sure it works. We're not going to do that in this car because this car has an airbag in this harness, and if you turn it on without the airbag plugged in, you get an airbag light in the dash. You can reset it, but it's a pain in the butt. So we're going to go ahead and just clip all this back together. We'll just set it in place, go ahead and turn it on. Now, a couple things about this dash while this is powering up. Ooh, we got sound. Tune it. This is one of the scariest dashes to work on. The reason why is because this material bakes in the sun and dry rots. There's a clip here and a clip here. They're both made out of metal and they don't like to give. We got fortunate on this one that this actually pulled off. A lot of times what happens is this shatters and this shatters. This pocket here also likes to break. For some reason, this doesn't like to come out, and to make it worse, they put little pieces of felt here that make it stick in even harder. Now, there's one screw behind here that you can kind of pull up the front sometimes if you can get it up. Take a really long bit and pull that one screw, and then if you're real careful, put your hands here and just gently wiggle. Most of the time it'll come off. Listen to all right, we got SiriusXm, which is what they had. Your speaker working? You already tested that. All right, let's go ahead and we'll snap this thing in place. We're done with this one, on to the Silverado. All right, so we went ahead and already removed this. Do yourself a favor and take this off. There's a screw here and a screw here. They're both Torx. Just kind of lift up in the front and it'll slide off towards you. Now, every one of these is gonna have a cracked dash. Here, here, sometimes over there by the airbag. Either way, just be real careful. Now, what we wanna do is gently pry this off to get the radio out. So now go ahead and remove the 6-7 millimeter bolt. What we got going on here? See this piece right here? Okay, this piece. This piece needs to be removed. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this out so we have room for all this stuff to go in. Alright, while he's finishing the vacuum job, since the mess we made, I'll go ahead and get this harness plugged in. Anytime you do a motorized face, make sure you open it and close it. Silverado's done. Bye.